Next up in our tour of jQuery selectors is selecting input nodes. Very useful if you're working with forms, text boxes, text areas, selects, those types of things where the end user can input data into your application. So there's a new character syntax that you haven't seen up to this point that can be used in a lot of different ways, but one of the ways is with input elements. And you'll notice that if we look up at the top here, we have our jQuery selector function, and we're going to not just pass in input, which as we just covered in the previous section would only select the input tags. We want to actually select all input tags. Now you might say, well, what else is there? Well, keep in mind that things like text area and select don't have an input tag, of course. That is the tag, text area and select. Well, the colon input is different from the standard input in that colon input selects all those things. Inputs, selects, text areas, buttons, even images, radio buttons and those types of things, checkboxes. So you can get the whole picture of things that can be on a form that are used to input data and click on buttons and things. Now, this will return all of those elements. So that means if you wanted to get radio buttons, you could just do this, right? You could say colon input, but we want to filter it by the type of input and say the type is radio. Now that is going to target all radio buttons, but is that the most efficient way to do it based on what we've covered up to this point in the module? And the answer is no, it's not, because this is going to select all of the things that qualify as an input. Input, select, text area, button, all those types of things. And as a result, you're going to have to filter through more things to find where the type is radio. Versus if you just went in and took out the colon and put input, now we're only going to filter based on just the input tags. So we'd say grab the inputs where the type is radio. So it's a very subtle difference, but you got to keep in mind that anytime you do a selector, it's going to grab this whole set, which in this case is the set of inputs, and then it's going to go ahead and filter based upon the type of radio. So you need to be careful of that so you can, make your app as efficient, as performant as possible. All right, so let's take a look at how we can use input tags though, and it's very useful anytime you just want to quickly iterate through different items in a form, including text areas and selects and things.